Hello again, and welcome back to another craft kit tutorial. This time we are making origami butterflies. So you can come pick this kit up right in Teen Services at the Windermere branch. And in this kit, you will get 12 sheets of paper, 6 patterns and 6 solids, a small bottle of glue, a ruler, a clothespin, and 6 toothpicks to kind of help form your bodies. And then from home, you will need a pair of scissors and a pencil or pen. Alright, as always, I will bring you down and we will get started. Alright, so this kit has enough to make 6 of these butterflies, but for the sake of today, I'm just going to show you how to do one. So you want to take 2 of your sheets of paper. I would recommend 1 solid or 1 pattern because it makes kind of a cool design. And we're going to cut out our pieces that we need. So whatever wings you want on top is going to be the bigger square. I'm going to use the patterned piece. So you need to make a 5x5 square. So I'm going to go ahead and mark this with my pencil. There's that line. There's my mark. Alright, and then now what I try to do, because we also need a 1x6" strip, is to draw this line and then draw your other 5" line from an inch in over, so you have a nice solid piece here. Try to use this as productively as possible. So we're going to cut this out. You probably can't see the line, but I did a line this way and then a line this way. And we actually also need this 1" strip on top. So I'm going to cut all the way across and then cut out my square with my scissors. Alright. You could also do this on the back if you're having trouble seeing your design, or your pencil on your design rather. But it's working okay. So there's our 1" strip. And our square. And then we're just going to set this other piece aside because we will use that later. And then from this one, we need a 2.5" by 5" rectangle. So we will measure that out. 2.5. 2.5. And we'll draw that line across. And then by 5. Like that. Alright, and then cut this out. Alright, and again, any extra pieces aside for now, because we will need some little bits and pieces for later. Alright. What we can actually go ahead and do is make your antenna piece too. So from your solid color, or whatever color you put on the bottom, we're just going to fold over a thin strip, just as small as you can fold it over. This is just making the antenna on your butterfly, so it doesn't have to be absolutely perfect, but just fold over a thin strip the full length of the paper, cut this so we have that full strip like that. See, it's folded in half. And then what we do with this is we want to taper the ends to a point. So I'm going to do like that. And like that. Get my scrap out of the way. And then we want to fold this approximately in half so that they kind of go up like so. So I'm gonna try to get that as even as I can and fold like that. All right, so there's our antenna, and then you could always trim a little bit. Like I think this side is a little bit longer than this one, so I'm gonna fix that by just cutting it a little shorter like that. And you can fix and trim if you kind of make them look more even with each other. Yeah, that looks better. All right, so that's all of our basic pieces set aside. So now we're gonna take our square here, and it needs to be folded in half diagonally. So we're gonna do that. And then with our pencil and our ruler again, on this edge on both sides, you need to draw a small mark 4 millimeters from the corner. So we're gonna do that. This is just to help line up your first fold, just so we have a little better idea of where it needs to go, and we can make nice even folds. 4 millimeters. So make sure you use the centimeter side of your ruler for that. Make a little mark. Doesn't have to be super dark, you just need to be able to find it again. And then the same on the other side. Okay. Alright, now we need to take our ruler, find those marks on both sides, and line it up. And then hold this down nice and tight. And you take your paper and fold it against the ruler to keep that edge nice and flat. Then take your ruler out and fold it down like so. So we have that. There's the other side for you. And then we're going to just flip back and forth and fold to line up with the fold that we just made on both sides. So we're going to do this side, fold it like so, flip over again. Now I do find it works best when you do flip back and forth, because then you don't have a much bigger side on one than the other. Sometimes it gets kind of hard to handle when you don't flip it over back and forth. So there's 2 folds, and then I'm going to flip it again. Keeping those nice and lined up the best you can. It's kind of a small fold, so it takes a little bit of practice, but not too bad. All right, flip it over again. And then do this the entire length of the paper until there's no paper left. So we're just flipping over, folding back and forth, keeping that lined up with the previous fold to make kind of a zigzag fan type pattern. And you get these kind of cool triangles down the side there. Kind of missed my fold a little bit there. See if I can fix that. Alright, I'm going to finish folding this and then I will come back and show you when we're all done. All right, I'm back. I turned the light off, see if we can get our focus a little bit better here. So there's that piece. You can kind of see there. It's got a cool little kind of a triangle pattern on it. So there is the diagonal piece. And then we're going to take the rectangle here and do something similar. So we're going to fold it lengthwise, or a hot dog if we're doing, elementary school speak. And you want to round off your corners a little bit. So I'm just going to take my scissors and round off the corners. This is just to kind of give it a prettier look, more butterfly-like. So there's that, like so. And then we're going to do something similar with this. Again, take your ruler, mark 4 millimeters from the folded edge. My pencil that I'm going to throw on the floor. A little easier to see on this paper. That's good. All right. Pardon me. Take your ruler, line up on that mark. I'll hold my paper first. There we go. Take your ruler, line up on that mark. Hold it down nice and steady. Use this as a starting point. Pull your ruler out. And then crease it nice and well. And then do the same thing. The same kind of fold you just did, the back and forth. Keeping that lined up until we run out of paper. So I will finish that, come back again, and we will continue. Okay, so we got this one done and this one done. So these are your 2 wing pieces. Now what we need to do is secure these. So take a scrap piece of your paper and just cut a very, very, very thin strip. This is just meant to secure it. So it doesn't have to be perfect. You don't really have to measure it. And then we're going to put a dot of your glue on each of the middles here. So dot and dot. Make sure we have plenty of glue there. All right, and then we're going to wrap this around just to secure it. So I'm going to take this. We're going to wrap it around just a few times. I'd say maybe, 3 or 4, just until it seems like it's actually holding. But we're going to wrap this around. You're going to get glue on your hands, so be prepared to go wash your hands when you're done. I have quite a bit of glue, so I'm just kind of using that residual glue to do this. And then just kind of cut off the extra and glue so that it is secured right in the middle there. Now what we want to do is take your clothespin and secure it just so that is secure while it's drying. I'm going to go ahead and prep here because we want to do the same thing on this piece. For this, because there isn't a clear middle, I take my ruler and make a mark at 2.5 because that would be the center on both sides, so I know where the center is. And I'm going to wait to do this, but it would be the same thing. Wrap around the middle and then secure, but wait till this glue's a little more dry. It should only take, a minute or 2 to at least make sure it's secure, and then do the same on this wing. Alright, so now we've got both of our wing pieces all set with that little band in the middle. Now we're going to take our toothpick, and you want to wrap the 1x6 inch strip around this diagonally. This is kind of a tricky thing to get started. Once we get going, it's not too bad, but it is kind of tricky just to get it started going around. Once we kind of get past the initial, it's not too bad. Alright, and then I kind of make sure that there's just a little tiny bit of paper past the end of the toothpick, just a little bit. You don't want too much, but so that there's a little left over there. All right, so see, now we're kind of started. It's not so bad. And we're gonna just wrap around. All the way around the toothpick. And if we kind of need to move the paper up, we can. We don't need to, but I kind of find that I end up with more paper at the end than the beginning, but it's just to kind of get you that tube, so it's not a huge deal if it's not perfectly even all the way around, so no biggie. All right, and then when we get to the end, you want to take a little bit of glue just to kind of secure that edge there and wrap that around and kind of smear the glue there, and then just let that sit for a minute so that is secure. I'm gonna try to slide my. Now, the directions where I learned to make this said that the toothpick should come out. I, in my experience, have not found that that works. But if you can slide the toothpick out, by all means do, because it would make your job a little bit easier. But I don't find, personally, that that works. So I have just been leaving my toothpicks in, but making sure that there's a little bit of a edge at the top. Because what we're going to do is fold this over so it's square, and then trim up just the corners so that it looks more like a head. Like that. And I'm going to secure that with just a little bit of glue, just for my own well-being. Probably don't need it, but I'm going to. And then we're taking the antenna and gluing the body to the antenna. Now I want it with that folded side down so that we don't see it too much. So I'm going to use my handy dandy clothespin again, since I've got it. To keep that down and secured, if I can. This you may just hold for a minute, but it kind of gives you a little extra pressure if you can use that. I'm just trying to hold it long enough to make sure it's, see, not adhering. I'm just going to hold it. I think that'll work better for us. So, let me see here. We're just going to stick it and hold it for a minute. Let me get a little more glue. Trial and error here. In hindsight, I probably would have made this piece for the antenna a little skinnier, but not a huge deal. We're just going to hold that there for a second. And then our next step is going to be attaching these wings together. All right, we're kind of stuck, so I'm going to go ahead and just set this aside and let it dry. Now this is an optional part. If you would like a little extra decoration on the bottom wing, what you can do is take the bottom wing color and fold another thin strip like the antenna, as thin as we can get it. And I'm going to trim this a little bit because over time I have not made the straightest line, but that's okay. Let's try to trim that up. There we go. Got it. All right, so if we want to do that extra, what you need to do is take that thin strip, fold it in half, and then we're going to mark the middle and cut that in half again, so you can have one for each side of your wing, like so. And then you're going to do the same thing where we kind of taper the ends here. So there's one. And there's the other. A little more pointed. Alright. Some extra paper out of the way here. And then, if we wanted to add that, you find kind of the last fold of your wing, your bottom wing, and glue it in that fold. So you can kind of see here, I'm gonna do it right there. So we're gonna put a little glue in. And we're gonna put this along the same fold, like that. And the same in the other side. Again, this is an optional step. I actually kind of prefer them without it, but I wanted to show you how to do this in case you did want to add this to yours. I think it kind of gives it more of like a dragonfly look, but it's totally up to you if you like the look or if you would rather pass on it. I'm going to kind of squeeze it just a little bit to make sure it's sitting without gluing my wings together. That's the kicker here. All right. So we'll let that sit for a second. So that gives it a little extra design there. Then we need to take our top and bottom and glue them together. So we're gonna glue right on that little middle piece we made. So there's some there. And we want if you do the little extra pointy pieces, you want those at the bottom. So we're going to do this and try to line them up as flat as possible. And then clip this together. Now this you want to sit for a little while. This is kind of the most important piece and one of the most important pieces to make sure it's really, really, really set before we keep going. So just make sure that your wings are kind of lined up here and then let this set until pretty much completely dry so you don't have to worry about it coming apart. So we'll let this dry and then we will assemble and put everything together. All right, I think we're good now. We've got this all glued. And this is kind of our hardest part. So we're going to do about a third of the way down and glue. And I'm going to just hold it here for a second. And then we'll try to paperclip, or clothespin, not paperclip. This is probably the most difficult part, is trying to get this in a way where it's holding without bending it over, like so. All right, let's just hold it for a second. We want to keep this as flat as we can. So we're just going to hold this here for a little bit. And if you can get it to be clothespinned on, I would highly recommend it. However, I'm having a lot of trouble getting it to stay. So if you don't, just put some gentle pressure on that for a few minutes and then you can let go and let it air dry. But like I said, if you can get the clothespin on, do, because that will help get a better seal on it. However, I'm having a lot of trouble with that today, so I'm not going to keep pushing it, and we're going to let it dry like that. And then when it's all done, we will take it apart and I'll kind of show you the final product. Okay, we are back. It is the next day. So as you can probably see, I was having some trouble getting this glued. What I ended up doing was just putting some glue on it and letting it dry for several hours to get this to stay. I think the culprit is the toothpick. So what I would try is after you do the little roll around your toothpick, is to take another and try to poke the toothpick out after you glue it. Because I think we were having trouble because we weren't gluing it to a flat surface. But it is remedied if you just sit and let it dry without the clothespin on it. So yeah, there is your completed butterfly. I went ahead and just kind of spread the wings apart now that it's glued, like so. And then this could be hung from your ceiling. I just use a little bit of like painter's tape to stick to a window or a wall, and those are really pretty like that too. And there is enough for you to make a whole flock of butterflies, whatever the term for a group of butterflies is. Should probably look that up. Alright, so there you are. Hope you guys enjoy, and we'll come pick this up, and hopefully this will be a good sign for warmer spring weather. Thank you guys. Have a good day.